Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. And so our card for this evening is the Lust / Strength card. And this is kind of just what it says. Desires, passions, finding, I think really finding power in activation of, the different centers of self, the different spheres, mind, body, soul, kind of going beyond convention and doing the things that come naturally to you, listening to yourself. Okay, so I really like this one down here. I want to look at this first. It looks like a person wearing maybe a cape or a large dress. And it looks to me like these are almost like honeycombs, if you can imagine the bee queen. And we have maybe a wand of some kind, almost like a fairy godmother. And this is in that emotional, but almost in that metaphysical. It's kind of dancing on the rim there. So I do believe that you have something akin to a guardian angel, a fairy godmother, something, somebody looking over you. There is this sense of a blessing, and I almost feel like pouring in the sacred waters of creativity, of life. Okay, kind of really it's almost like being jolted into this place of feeling free to flow whatever way you are so inclined. Kind of releasing yourself of the bondage, of daily life, of worrying about what people think, your responsibilities. Now, I don't think that you're abandoning any of these things, but I think that you are incorporating more agency and the ability to kind of navigate more areas of your inspiration, your desires, inclinations, and so on. So this really is an interesting time of self-exploration, and I feel like you are really being guided in that, and not just not guided. It's a safekeeping, right? Looked over. Reminded to be mindful about the decisions you're making, be discerning, right? But also do what you love. Do the things that scare you a little bit. Try things out. Now, we have two enthroned people. We have one right up here, in this emotional zone, and then we have another one here in this physical, on the flat part of the bowl. Okay, they are facing one another, and it actually almost looks like we have a third one right here, which is pointing at this one. So I feel like, and this one's even going into this kind of metaphysical zone. So I'm really feeling like there's the mind, emotionality, the body, and the soul. Okay, all of these things, I feel like you are in a place of power. When they are enthroned, this is something like the emperor, the empress, maybe even like the high priestess. These are seated archetypes that are in a place of knowing and wisdom. They are the ones that decide. Okay, they, you know, give their judgments. And, you know, I really feel like there are some big shifts in your life. And I kind of wonder, you know, there have been times not too long ago where some things came about that seemed like they were devastating. Maybe it felt like something was being ripped out of your life, taken from you. And I don't think that this was maybe a person, but something like maybe a job, some kind of responsibility, minor or major, it doesn't matter. I think that it felt big to you. Okay. Now, as time has gone on, I think there has been some freedom in not having that particular responsibility. I think that it's maybe given you more time to think about things that you want to do, where you want to put your energies. Again, being more discerning about where you're going to spend your time and energies. And so I feel like this has kind of set off a series of things that have led you into this place of strength and desire and that lust for life. And maybe really a lust for power in your own life, in your own story. Okay, perceived power. And I can see that by these enthroned beings. Okay, I think that they're aligned with one another. I think, you know, here the one in the emotional zone is smaller. But I think in your physical life, you really do, you know, make the decisions. You decide what you're going to do, where you're going to go, when you're going to do all that. In the spiritual zone, I think that you really have, you know, done the work so that you are open and communing with the universe, with the divine, with this kind of guardian that you have. And then, you know, your emotionality, I think, you know, the big thing here is a vacillation between trying to feel nothing and feeling a lot, right? Kind of going between the two. So working on tempering that kind of duality there, so that it's kind of a more smooth, you know, transition or vacillation between the two. And, you know, instead of this real like up and down roller coaster. Okay. And I think, you know, we can try to figure out how to do some of that by looking at how we feel about things, right? Not necessarily confronting how we feel, but when we feel something, instead of rejecting it, letting it out a little bit, talking about it. You know, I think talking through things really does help. Verbalizing, okay? So if you have somebody who you trust, who is kind of a support person, a good friend, a spouse, whoever it is, you know, I suggest maybe talking about your feelings when they start to come up, instead of maybe just pushing them down or feeling like, oh, this is maybe, this feeling does not relate to this thing happening. It doesn't make sense. I shouldn't be feeling this, you know, minimizing how you feel and so on. And then it kind of just really gets big, big, big on its own, and then, you know, a little bit out of your control, it kind of explodes, or you have a, you know, a really big, a big dip in your feelings. You're, you know, crying and depressive, and, you know, feeling, like there's nowhere to turn, you know. I mean, I'm just thinking about how I feel when I push my feeling, and then all of a sudden, you know, I wake up and I'm just like so depressed, because I haven't been allowing myself to look at the reality of things going on in that present time, you know. And you know, we all have this where we're so busy, or, you know, oh, I'm on my way to work, I don't want to deal with this right now, or, you know, my kid is tired and screaming, I can't think about whatever just came into my mind, I'm starting to feel emotional about it, I'm gonna put it on the back burner, and then it doesn't get addressed, right? And then next thing you know, it really has kind of set the tone of your next cycle there. Okay. So we have to try to find ways where we can be mindful and, allow ourselves to really spend a little bit of time, at least. Find some time somewhere, if possible. Okay. So we also have, and I'm looking at this, it looks like maybe an O or an I right here, and then a T. Okay, so maybe IT or OT, maybe a word, maybe a name, initials, might mean something to you. We also have the candle of illumination. So some kind of important message coming to you in the emotional zone. I feel like this will be maybe in a dream or through a conversation with somebody in your life. Something being conveyed to you. And it's, it feels like it will be somewhat emotional. Okay, so look for that coming. And then we have a dolphin right here. And so that usually has to do with kind of an intense psychic moment. I think, and then we have a crab up here. And I wonder if you are going to have some kind of interaction with maybe a Cancer person, and it's going to feel like it is quite, it feels remarkable. And this feels like somebody in your physical life. Maybe you work with them, or there's somebody within your social group, but you will have a conversation with them, I think, that will feel like it is beyond the normal. It'll be deep, I feel like you will talk about things that you don't usually talk to people about. And it feels meaningful, okay? And so if you know a Cancer person, maybe, be on the lookout for that. And that might have to do with this emotional candle of illumination there, okay? Now, we also have up here, it looks like two people, and it looks like they're very much locked together. And so I feel that we have kind of a movement towards some kind of physical relationship, but this is also in the emotional. So I wonder if this is maybe somebody you are maybe married to, in a relationship with, having some kind of love affair or physical relationship with. And I feel like at first I thought, okay, this seems like an aggressive stance between the two, but I feel like the heads are leaning together, and I feel like there is a sense of mutual unification here. It seems like some barriers are being broken down, and when I think about that, I almost think about, it's odd, but I think about kind of looking at a scene where there are kind of leaves that are turning, or they've been under snow, maybe it's going into like the spring, but there's material that is deteriorating, natural material, so like maybe mulch or something. And this could be in fall as well. We're going into fall here in the northern hemisphere, in the north here. And kind of faced up against a bright blue sky. And I almost kind of like get an image of like maybe taking a walk together, going into a natural place, feeling very attached to one another, like warm hands holding each other. And it feels cozy and dreamy, and beloved, easy as well to be with them. And it's almost like laughing, kind of laughing together. But it's almost kind of like a weary feeling too, like weary and knowing, like ready to hibernate together, maybe. Or maybe you've gone through a long winter together and it's kind of like, you know, emerging from. So, I don't know. I think that this is a good relationship though. We also have two people holding each other here. There's one and then there's one here. Okay, so it feels, and maybe even this one looks like two people. I feel like there's a lot of, the motif here is two people kind of resting up against each other, dancing maybe, copulating, something. But there is love, lust, kinship, you know, really beyond just a physical or beloved unity, but there's just a sense of liking one another, enjoying each other's company. And you know, that's not always present in relationships. Even when somebody is your beloved, that does not mean that you like each other all the time. But when you do find somebody that you like and they are, there is that ease together, that is a lucky thing. And so I think that this is a pretty wonderful coming together, okay? Now I want to look at this, and I want to do this easily because we have this beautiful flower right here, and it looks to be like it's kind of among some anxieties. We have some anxieties, but we have a flower growing from it. And so I feel that there has been some worry, okay? But I feel like that makes sense because the strength card, the lust card, does not just come from an easy going path. Like life isn't just easy and you're all of a sudden this strong, ferocious, riding the beast, you know. It comes from adversity. You have had some things that you've had to go through, the ordeals, right? And that is how you become fortified. And so it is. And you are flourishing, okay? So make use of this energy. Do something with it, okay? Whatever that looks like, if that is within, you know, creating monetary resources for yourself, emotional resources, if you are doing creative things, if this is where you have the courage to get up and go travel, you know, break ties with somebody, whatever it is, you know, do it mindfully. But you know, I think that there's a lot of power here. And this power doesn't always stick around, right? There are moments in life where we feel very charged, ready to go. But, you know, with everything, there's a waxing and waning. Okay, so make use of this. We also have 2 birds, and they look like they're just kind of sitting, singing their beautiful songs. And so again, I feel that there is security, there is blessing from the divine. You're being watched over, and that is a beautiful thing indeed. Okay, so we're going to look at the water blessings affirmation cards, and these are the water element. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're in the new cycle. I'm going to go back a little bit here. These are from my last readings, which were part of the other cycle. And now we're actually in the lightness of being affirmation cards, which are the earth element. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, take these out. I apologize. I forgot to switch them up here. And so we'll just kind of go here and we will stop where it feels right. Okay, so we have this kind of really beautiful flowers and this fairy. Kind of looks like Grimes, if you know who that is. Okay, it says grace, trust, be relaxed and awake in the luminous stream, shimmer with aliveness. Yeah, I think that, you know, this really kind of fits this energy that we have. There is a relaxed strength, being fully in the power, and as you can see, it's kind of this very kind of like yawny yawny energy up here, but you know, this kind of reclined in this, you know, vitality, in this knowing, being alive and shimmering and fully in the power of your entire being, and in that wisdom as well. So that makes sense. Even the colors kind of match. So here we are. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm. And as we all know, the algorithm decides everything about everything about everything. And so we like to make the algorithm happy by giving it the engagement that it likes. Those are things like liking the video, sharing the readings on other social media platforms, watching the readings from the beginning to the end. Of course, you do not have to do any of these things, but I like to mention them in case you are interested in supporting the channel in some way. This is the best way to do it, one of these things, or all of them. If you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. When you subscribe, it will let you know when the next videos are coming out. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I read all of them and I do reply back to all of them. So sometimes it takes me a day or two to get back to you, but I will, because it's absolutely my favorite part of doing these readings and having this channel, is being able to communicate with you all, get to know you, and I truly appreciate when you know, just leave some love, tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe talk about, you know, how the readings resonate with you or don't, whatever it is. I just really like to get to know the folks that come here and are part of our community here. So I'm going to say thank you once again. I'm so excited. This is my last reading of the night, and now I'm going to go right to bed. All right, Taurus, I thank you. I thank you. It's all love, and we will talk in just a few days.